Tell us about the opportunity for video producers to get a bigger audience. And you're working with all the wire services, and it seems counterintuitive that they have this massive distribution. How do you fit into that?
It's vertical niches primarily, and that's what we're finding. What we do is we deliver content. I mean, certainly we deliver content to large news sites like Gannett, big data companies like LexisNexis, but what we find really is that because we service or receive content from so many different content creators like yourself and other people, for example, going forward, what we're able to do is take that content and then offer it to niche sites that are only involved or interested in technology, or sites that are only interested in cars, or book lovers sites. And so this kind of allows us to take all of the best content that fits that niche from all of these different providers. And as we do that, individual niche producers really come to the forefront for those individual sites. And they're also supported, frankly, by content from the big guys that relates to that material as well.
So it's all video, it's news type video. Give us a range of the sources that you syndicate, and what kind of videos do you syndicate?
We have relationships with all of the major wire services, Associated Press, Reuters, AFP. We have a lot of overseas partners that we work with, like Deutsche Welle, France 24, CBC. But we also work with a lot of smaller producers, like Buzz 60 that's here in New York. It's a relatively new player. We have TFL Cars out of Denver, which only does car reviews. He does amazing car reviews, but that's his focus. So it really runs the gamut. And we also are starting to work now with independent journalists overseas. We have someone in Indonesia, someone in Bangladesh, and these are guys who really are shooters, and they work for some of the big wire services, but they also shoot footage, and we take that, and they'll cut it together themselves and give it to us as a produced piece, and we'll distribute that for them, and we share the royalties with them. It's not a huge amount at this point, but it's a revenue stream, and I think for a lot of guys who've been in the business where there's a revenue stream starting to dry up, creating yet a new revenue stream, even a small one, is a viable option.
So the revenue share is based on the licensing or the usage, not on advertising?
Well, our models are really different depending on the publisher. I mean, some of our publishers, we run advertising and share revenue with the publisher as well as the content creator. Other ones, they're based on usage fees or license fees. We really run the gamut. I think what we found is that there's so many different approaches to this that we try to be as flexible as we can depending on the publisher.
Okay, and not to get too deep in the weeds, but how does the content get matched up and the metadata and so
Sure.
forth?
We actually have been really excited because the last couple of years we've spent a lot of time developing a proprietary technology process. So what we do is we take in, right now we have almost 60 feeds from different providers that we take in. Each one of those feeds is different. So we've developed some proprietary original technology that takes that, extracts metadata, puts it into a taxonomy that we can use, and then basically what we're able to do is create a unified taxonomy of metadata that covers all of our providers. And using that metadata, we're able to target our video very, very specifically. So we can tell the difference, for example, between an apple the fruit and Apple the company. That's the kind of thing we can do. We can give you videos about lions in the zoo in New York versus lions in the wild in Africa. That's the kind of granular metadata that we specialize in. And we're also kind of different than most in our space because we have an editorial team. We're very editorially focused. I come out of editorial myself, so the company has very much that kind of focus. We have a number of full-time editors on our staff. What we do is we monitor our feeds. We take in all of the content from our partners, and then what we do is we enhance some of the metadata that may not necessarily be there as well, and then we publish, but we don't publish everything. We're not trying to be a sub-distributor for our partners. Our small guys, yes, it's a little bit different, but for the big players, we don't want to cannibalize their business. We need them to survive so we can survive, frankly. And so what we do is we publish probably anywhere from 20 to 25% of their content on a regular basis. And a lot of publishers like that from us because we're not overwhelming them with 1,000 videos a day. We're giving them a handful of very targeted videos, and they know that because our staff are really experienced journalists, they're getting the very best produced pieces.
And one last question, in terms of the opportunity for news video, obviously you're committed to this space and you're passionate. Where do you think it's going, and where might the industry be going?
Well, I'm an old guy, and I started at CBS News in the 70s, and and I think the news was defined in a certain way back then. I think we still use the term news, but we define it in a much broader context. You know, lifestyle videos, celebrity. There's a lot more that goes under the banner of news, and I think as long as we have that wider definition of news, we're all going to do very well going forward. Because news means different things to different folks, and the bigger the tent, I think the more successful we'll all be going forward.